Ladies and gentlemen, you are now listening to the Talking Nonsense About Impact Wrestling podcast. Cross the line in 3, 2, 1.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Talking Nonsense About Impact Wrestling podcast. My name is Jeff, and back to the normal crew. Alongside me, as always, is the Kiera to my Tasha, the Wentz and Dez to my Trey. It's Max, everyone. What's going on?
So are you telling me I left? I thought I didn't go off to do another show with somebody else.
You weren't on last night. So.
That's true. Craig would be the when he left our show to go do somebody else.
Oh, man. Oh, Lord. Good spirits, a lot to talk about.
I'm like the inspiration. I was out because of I had a coach.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. But yeah, thank you to everyone that is tuning in right now. If you're live on Twitch or if you're watching this on YouTube or audio later, thank you. If you're a first timer, welcome. Let us be your guides to the world of Impact Wrestling. We're not that bad at people. Pretty unbiased and not that douchey. I don't think so, despite this intro. So yeah, and thank you whoever tuned in yesterday. So our new schedule will be changing a little bit. We're debating on going to Sundays live, Saturdays keeping this just for specials for Plus and pay-per-view. But we did a Twitch special yesterday, and big thank you to Lucha and the aforementioned Mr. Impact Craig, who you can see now live every Thursday, 4 p.m., 9 p.m. BST. Talking Blood Nonsense. But yeah, they came through clutch. It was a fun show, and it was our highest amount of people in our Twitch chat all time. So
because I wasn't here.
It was all. Were you logged into different names?
I came in for a second, but then I left because I wasn't feeling great. So I just went ahead and.
You weren't feeling the vibe in the room.
Well, no, I mean that. I didn't. It's like come in, and I'm like, I don't know,
man. Too much jazz.
Watching
all right.
NFL.
Well, we got a lot to talk about. If you are an avid watcher of the show, thank you for coming and your loyal audience there. If you're new, like I said, we'll guide you through it. And this is the point where we would normally have our power rankings, our go-go power rankings at that with Datia. What's going on? There we go. First in the chat group. But we aren't going to do power rankings today. They will be released on the YouTube channel tomorrow, which will be Monday. And just a little tidying up there, kind of loose ends there, Craig. They're not ready. That's what I'm trying to say. They'll be out tomorrow. All right. But with that being said, it gives us more time to get right into this. Max, there's a lot to talk about here with Hard to Kill. And we're going to try to break it up as best as possible, but we're going to start with the internet. Now, as far as that goes, I think there's three different avenues to touch on here. One, obviously, being the internet reaction to what happened, to the show itself, rather, which in my eyes, mostly positive. I also want to talk about the reaction and buzz. Critical State, man, always with the nothing major happened, no. They talk about the buzz that was generated rather quickly from Mickie being in the Royal Rumble, and then now retaining, spoiler, to be Knockouts champion, world champion, and going.
If you were listening to this show expecting it to be spoiler free, what did you miss?
Sorry. We won't talk about the taping, but we will talk about the pay-per-view. So a lot of buzz there, and then the third part obviously being this weird dynamic of internet people that just can't let other people be happy. Like you're telling me about the names and such, and I'm sure you'll get into that a little bit about the people there. And I think it's important to talk about that because I put out a tweet last night that said, look, say what you will about Impact Wrestling. Like it or not, love it or not. Our success affects AEW's or WWE's, whatever the trolls were coming from, their success. I feel like us especially are very unbiased, honest, and pro wrestling. You watch AEW on the regular. I'm obviously an ROH guy back in the day and dabble and try to keep up on everything. But it just happens to be this is the show we're talking. So we welcome everyone, but we don't welcome that. And I want you to touch on that as well, because I just don't understand that dynamic of of a way of thinking rather. What does it matter if Impact had a great night, which we did?
I mean, I feel like a lot of people, unfortunately, there's a lot of people out there who feel like their show has to be the best, and they have to put anything else that isn't their show down. Because for so long it was always like if you look at you go back to the Monday Night War for me, I watched both shows. I
Mhm.
enjoyed both shows. But there were a lot of people that seemed to be WWE versus WWE, or WWE versus WCW. And then you
Right.
kind of had like WWE kind of put down other people. And then with some of the stuff WWE has done where people are angry at them, they just got used to attacking WWE. Well, now anything that's not AEW, they want to put down. Like there was somebody on Reddit who was talking about, and we'll get more into um, the ROH thing, but one of the people who debuted, I guess his name in ROH was just Vincent. And the guy was talking about the names in Impact. He's like, main event, like Vincent versus W. Morrissey. Like, what are with these names? And I responded, I was like, dude, like AEW had Cody for all up until like 6 months ago. He was just Cody. They
And
have
that's okay though.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's fine with that. Yeah, they have Miro, Ortiz, and Santana. So apparently Vincent,
Right.
his single name is horrible, but all these others, and it's just like, guys, like, why? And it's, I don't know. I just feel like people just,
Nitpick.
yeah, they just nitpick. They just want to put down, and a lot of people still dislike Impact because of the stuff that TNA did years ago that caused them. And it's like you'll hear people on Reddit, you see it all the time. People are like, yeah, Impact's crap, man. I haven't watched Impact, in years. I'm like, how are
Yeah.
you gonna tell me it's crap, but you haven't watched it in years? Like,
Right. But it's just a weird thing you have to deal with. And we'll end it right here, just because it's not worth getting too much into, and there's a lot of positives I think to this as well. Um, but I for some reason, and you're right, it's everyone wants theirs to be the best, but unlike football or unlike baseball, the playing field isn't even. It's not a we're all in the same league and we have the same amount of avenues. We're not all on TNT. We're not. It's not. You can't. It's not comparable, and everyone treats it like it's their home team or something, which is really weird. Now, I doubt Seinfeld fans and fucking I'll say Full House just to give it some props there. Bob Saget, we love you. Rest in peace, my friend. Um, but you know, do they argue? Do people fight? Did they fight back in the day? Did people on TGIF watch that? Were like, "Fuck you, Saturday morning cartoon people." Like, what? What is the? It's just silly to me, man. Let everyone enjoy what you want. Golden rule should apply here. There's no reason to find something negative in someone's happiness. That's what I say. All right, but let's move on to the positive of that. Let's go. Let's start with the reverse of that, which was I saw a lot of people. For every asshole there was, there was somebody who at least one, two, three, four people times that were positive newcomers or sticking up for Impact, which I thought was really cool. Which I think there's a thin line we have to watch too with now us gloating and us being rubbing in their face. You know,
yeah.
let's be the bigger person.
I'll go back to Reddit. One of the posts on Reddit actually talked about one of the people who was there at the pay per view said one of the security guards, I guess when the pay per view first started, was just kind of like, whatever, wrestling, this is stupid. And he said by like the end of the show, like he was super into it and he was like asking questions about to the person that was there, like, hey, like what is these storylines? And he was telling them the storylines and the build up. So he said the guy got really into it. And I mean, this is somebody who clearly doesn't watch wrestling
Right.
but was there. So I mean, I think it was a really good show. I mean, most things. I mean, for the most part, every once in a while you have a bad show or a bad match, but really, Impact does a really good job in their pay-per-views of putting their best foot forward, and they always come off with a lot of really good hype because they do their best work on these pay-per-views. They build the feuds well,
That's fair.
and they have good payoffs. Um, and a lot of the results and stuff make sense even when you look at something like with Josh losing to Moose right after he won. Like that upsets some people, but long-term booking wise, that made
Yeah.
complete sense. This wasn't Mankind showing up out of nowhere and winning the title, and you're like, what in the world? Like
Right.
that's so they do a good job with their storyline. So I
But as far as the internet reaction, though, do you think it was the positive aspect of that? You know, and then we'll lead into the buzz that we were speaking of off air about the WWE buzz that I just mentioned as well. Like with Mickie now going, and you know, obviously we'll talk about it later, but now going as the Knockouts World Champion to the Royal Rumble.
I think the internet buzz is good. I think everything they can do to pick up viewers is smart. It, with them being on YouTube for only $1, you can watch all their episodes. The
Right.
excuse of I can't find them is
Yeah.
kind of going out the window.
Yep.
Twitch, as easy as it was to watch them there, it's a little bit weird for people who don't use, like they may not want to use Twitch, but
Yep.
you pay $1 and you get all the Impact episodes. Like there's, as long as you can get buzz from the internet, which is primarily positive, which it was, I think you're going to slowly start to draw people in. So
You know, I think it's all about momentum. And for once, I feel like 2022 could be the year where we get not back to where we were. I said before we're about where we were in like 2007, 2008. If we could get to the popularity right before Hogan came, that would be the sweet spot. And if we could keep the momentum, it really hinges on the reaction of, I don't want to say the fan base, because the fan base, our fan base, the faithful, will continue to watch and continue to support. And if they continue to have a good product, no one's going to leave. But as far as everybody else, what is are the negative reactions outweighing the positives? And I think for once we're seeing 4-1 or something like that last night, a real positive reaction from the cheats to the people to the reviews. It was generally positive. So I think the momentum's in our favor. The one thing I do want to hit really quick, because I mentioned it on the live Twitch special yesterday, which obviously cannot be seen, so I'll mention it again. Ratings. Everyone wants to talk ratings. Everyone wants to talk this, that, and whatever. Impact. How is Impact growing and able to spend and getting sponsored by Free Fall the movie and what is it, Chef Box, fucking 32. I don't know what it's called, subscription box. You know, how are these things happening? These things happening
without
if the
some type of growing, yeah, I
if
agree.
right. So the growth is there. You can't lie about that anymore. You're right. You could buy it. You can't find it anymore. It's $1 to watch it. And then on top of that, now they're bringing, at least, now we don't know ROH situation. Looks like we're going to be working with them a lot. But at least New Japan will be on right after Impact on Access TV. I mean, they're setting themselves up for inner success. They're trying to promote their own show, their own, so their own channel, their own YouTube channel.
Yeah.
It's good shit.
No, I
We're in a
definitely
good
agree
time.
with that, and I think for the most part, the stuff that I see after any of their pay-per-views is primarily positive. You get a couple of people who doesn't matter what Impact does, they're gonna shit on them. And it's
Right.
kind of like I think a lot of that negative is louder, so it looks like it's more. Um,
Squeaky
but
wheel.
yeah, but I think what Impact needs to primarily hope for is to obviously keep their primary audience, grow that slightly, and then kind of pick people in here and there. As long as they continue to work with multiple other companies, you'll get a situation where people are like, "Oh, that's an interesting match. I'll go ahead and tune in on that. Oh, this card looks good. Let me watch." Like they need to be like at least how I am with UFC now. I used to watch all the UFCs. I don't anymore. I kind of look at them like, is this a good card? Yeah, this has 4 or 5 matches I want to watch. I'll buy that one. That's what they need, is they need to grow their primary audience just a little bit and then look to every once in a while pick up a few people here and there just to tune in so that you get some spikes here and there. And I think if you do that, you'll eventually get a couple of those people each time to continue to watch and you'll just slowly grow. So
Yeah, yeah, and I think there's a lot of ways to get to where we're going. And I think in a lot of ways in these 5-year plan that they had, they've I mean, yeah, there were some setbacks that they couldn't really predict. There were some setbacks that they caused on their own. Um, but I just feel like if you're an Impact fan or you're new to the fandom, um, it's a good time to be an Impact fan. So it only gets better from here. So now that we are done, shitting on everyone and patting ourselves on the back, let's go into the actual pay per view. Let's start with perfect timing if you're a YouTube watcher or a Twitch watcher. Tom Hannafin is the new voice of Impact Wrestling play by play. Obviously he mentioned on the pay per view a long lineage of greatness there from obviously on play by play Tanay. I guess technically you count Kennelly. I don't know. To Matthews, to Stryker, to I mean, Tom, formerly known as Phillips, is man. Look, I love Stryker. I'm glad, his passion for wrestling's always there. I don't know if the MLB job, maybe that schedule kind of got in the way or something. I don't know. But without being a dick about it, it was really nice upgrade last night.
Tom is amazing. I loved Tom I'll say in NXT, I loved him, and with him and Corey Graves, because I felt like when they were there, similar to I think how it's going to be in Impact, they had the ability to just kind of do what they wanted, and you didn't have Vince in their ear screaming your next line. When he went up to the main roster, like most people do, they kind of all sound the same. But I thought he was great. I was super excited when I saw that he was going to be there, that he was the new voice. I know we had talked, I think you and I had talked about the possible, we thought maybe Morrow was coming in.
Yeah.
But I think Tom's amazing. I think he adds, I don't want to say a level of professionalism because I mean,
No?
Matt was never unprofessional, but
No.
he adds a level that I don't know. Maybe it's just his name recognition of who he is that they just didn't have before.
It's the voice.
Yeah, maybe that's
The voice is recognizable to now 3 different companies. Impact, obviously, but before that, Raw, I believe, maybe SmackDown main event. I guess he's technically them all, and then NXT, where a lot of these people, as I said on the pre-show yesterday, a lot of these NXT fans are finding other avenues. What was their NXT is no more. I think it's still a fun product. That's a different show for a different time. But hey, come home to Impact fans. And this I think is a recognizable voice to where if you're like iffy about it, that you're like, oh shit, Tom Phillips or whatever his name was. Was it Phillips?
I think it was Phillips.
Phillips, yeah.
Yeah, the thing I know also about him is that when he used to interview people, he would always make it look like they were taller than him. So he would always stand like super wide legged, so he would appear shorter than people. Like it was always one of the jokes. But no, I thought he was great. I mean, I know we're not talking about them, but I thought the ROH guys were good too for their match.
Oh yeah. I mean, Riccaboni,
yeah. But no, yeah, Tom. It's weird because his last name to me it doesn't roll off the tongue, so I'm just gonna call him Tom from now on. I thought he was amazing. I think he's a great addition. And I think him and D'Lo are gonna work well together.
Yeah, man. For even though I like Stryker, for some reason him and D'Lo never really. I don't know. Their voices just weren't compatible.
Someone online had mentioned that with Stryker that they think he feeds off the crowd a lot for his announcing. So that's why at like pay-per-views he's good, but then when they're dubbing it over, he doesn't have that crowd to feed off. He's not there live, and then his announcing takes a hit. So maybe that was it. But who knows?
That's some analysis. I mean, that's a good something I didn't really think of. But either way, like Stryker, I hope he finds, obviously he has that MLB stuff, so it's not like he's on, out on the street. But wish him the best. Thank you for his time. And then Tom, I thought did a wonderful job. It was helpful that Renee was the one that broke the news, so that little crossover there as well helped, that rub. Just a lot of good things come with him. And as I said yesterday as well, and the reason I say when I say something yesterday is because we have a lot of crossover fans that watch everything, or friends first, fans second. That watch, and I don't want to be, repetitive, but I digress. Speaking of I digress, that actually is a perfect transition. If anyone wants to continue to bring Tom that silliness, his personal life, whatever happened there, and you remember that kind of whatever he got caught.
I don't
No,
remember anything
cool,
that he did.
cool. Just some text, some bullshit text. I'm no one to judge. Personal life, not my life. Okay. Uh, I think there's a lot of hypocritical analysis when it comes to things like that when you look at the face value of people in other companies. So, like I said yesterday, if you want to talk about it, let's talk about it. But I don't think you want to go with the reputation of the Impact locker room compared to elsewhere. So, and I mean that with all due respect. But so yeah, happy about that. Um, you know, I still would love, especially when Don gets healthy again and he kicks it and he's cancer free. He could come back and do a little color commentating. I'd love to see Don West, um, get some play there once in a while. So I think having
Shit
someone
about
like
Don
Tom,
Callis. I was like, wait,
no,
what?
no, 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 Don West,
So,
and Mike Tenay as well. But with Don, it would be really cool for him to come back. It would be a great moment. And I think with Tom, it's easier to understand who's the alpha. Striker is great but D'Lo kind of overshadows him because he's D'Lo fucking Brown. But Tom has a professionalism to him
yeah.
that I think it can go with anybody. All right, let's talk about the one of the big juiciest things here. We'll mix it all together. You already spoke of Riccaboni. You had Bobby Cruz in the ring. Wish they had a ref. We did it. Had him, but that
Yeah.
was still cool. It would have been cool. Um, we had Gresham versus Saban in a fucking wonderful match. And then we had at the end of Hardcore War, we we had the Kingdom of eventually Maria, who came out, Matt Taven, Mike Bennett, and Vincent, and then PCO. So not really the original Kingdom or the OG Kingdom or the new Kingdom. Um, Vincent being there is pretty cool. I thought he could be Su Young's baby daddy if it doesn't go to Bray Wyatt, or my original thought. Um, but PCO was an interesting one. And what made me think what I'm about to ask you, or ask your opinion on, is that PCO was done with ROH months ago, before they even announced that they were going to
Take a long
halt.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
there you go. Take a nap. Um, so this group is not signed to ROH, and I looked into it. None of them, all their contracts expired. So could this still be an ROH invasion? Sure. Um, but could this be something completely different where this is just a stable that's here to stay? It's possible as well. It's great to have Mike and Maria back. It's great to have PCO back. He's technically a TNAer. Um, and it's great to have Taven and Vincent for the first time. I think, if anything else, it causes interest, and that's great. But what I want to know from your point of view is, do you think this is an instance where these people are going to sign with Impact? They're just part of this ROH deal, helping each other out here, because they do have a super card coming in Rebellion time as well in April, so which would be interesting. So what are your ideas? What do you think this is and the result of?
So I hope it's not an ROH invasion. I know they mentioned ROH a little bit when it was happening, but I hope they don't talk about ROH much at all.
Oh,
One, because so I never followed ROH storylines, but
fair.
apparently Vincent turned on the Kingdom and like tried to kill Matt Taven or one of them, like
Oh, okay.
like super blood feud. So
Okay.
from what I was reading, so that's why I hope it's not an ROH thing. I just hope this is a stable that they pull. I was happy with the Kingdom. They're one of the people that I wanted. I would love Vincent to be there. I think he's got a great look. PCO, honestly, I could do with that. One, the man started wrestling when I was 3 years old. He's four
And
years.
you were born in '76, so
No, I was born in 84. He started wrestling in 87. He's 4 years older than the Kiss Demon. The man we hoped we would never see ever again. He is 4 years older than.
first of all, it's not an age thing. We just saw IPWF where Mike Jackson came back and he's fucking 80 doing the walking the ropes and shit. Age doesn't mean anything. Look at Swinger. That's him and Swinger. Well, PCO is definitely older than Swinger, but
Either way.
look,
So,
the gimmick doesn't yet. Oh, what is? I think the PCO gimmick fits Impact, but don't know about its shelf life. I agree with that. You know, the monster. I think there's fun things you could do with him. I think he doesn't win titles. He's not our champion. He's not. But I think it's an interesting thing that I think Impact I trust playing around.
maybe.
But
I would be okay with the Kingdom and Vincent just staying permanently. Like,
oh yeah,
so
yeah.
I really like them. But I just hope that right now, maybe they add Gresham in. Who the fuck is blowing up my phone? Maybe they add Gresham in, but
Must be your Full House male.
I don't know. Yeah, apparently, yeah, that's probably what it is. But hope maybe if they add Gresham, that would be fine. But I don't want it to be an ROH thing because ROH as a company right now is technically gone. Like they have their titles, but they don't have signed wrestlers. Like this isn't.
It feels in WCW Invasion.
Correct. Or ECW Invasion was like, yeah, we bought this company. Like, no. So I would just rather it be them invading. We're not connected to ROH. Maybe you can talk about their history.
Their own agenda.
I don't want them to bring up ROH every time they're there. So, but I'm super happy the Kingdom's there. I love Maria. You know, she's amazing. I think it's great. The way they introduced it was perfect. If you have to pick a match that those guys are going to run in on, that's the best one to do it on. The Gresham, and right now it's at the top of our thing, Gresham, Chris Sabin, that was absolutely amazing match. Yeah. And I like that they wrestled under pure rules. The ending with the bridge, like that was so smooth. So that match was really good. Top to bottom. I still like that he carries, and I know he is like he's using the old belt because whoever was the champion couldn't defend it, but I still like that he carries that around. But overall, I'm happy those guys are here. 3 of them I want there to be permanently. PCO, once again, if he's here for a short run or maybe some small things here and there, but he's the one I could do without in that group.
Yeah, you know, I thought it was fun to see him there. I thought if you're doing a hodgepodge group of ROH people, it kind of makes sense, even though he was no longer in ROH, but he was obviously their champion, which is crazy to me. You know, I kind of agree with you because it does have that feel if they were to say this is an ROH invasion. WCW didn't exist at the time.
Yeah.
ECW didn't exist at the time. So it devalues or waters down ROH and the invasion in the process. What I really like about where ROH is going to go back to, and I see some people mentioning that they're, I think Io said that. Let's see. Yeah, they're going to go back to indie style and pure, wrestling. WWE is cornering the market on bringing people in from different avenues, gymnasts, ex-athletes. Well, the athletes are gymnasts, but you know what I mean. All different sports. And
yeah.
They're casting the net and bringing people in, training them the WWE way, giving them the WWE name. So when they leave, we go back to that shitty issue of having, it's Johnny Gabroni coming out as, and his name was something cool in WWE.
Yeah, all they ever
Matt Cardona. No.
Yeah, they have no history before WWE.
Correct. So WWE creates a history. The one I'm really excited about, though, I do want to say that, and this I know it's obviously not Impact, but we'll get into it. When Braun Breaker, right? Braun Breaker?
I don't know what he is.
When inevitably he is released, because that's just the way shit goes in WWE. It's Rick Steiner's son, champion of NXT. When he gets released, he can use the Steiner name. And that makes me very happy. But anyways, I digress. Okay. Hey, that's you. Nice to see you.
Yeah, Braun Breaker.
Braun Breaker.
Breakker.
I know. I said that was actually Scott Steiner's original name when he came in was Fran Freaker. Stupid dad jokes. All right. Anyways, but yeah, let me wrap that up with the ROH thing. I agree. I think it waters it down. I love Gresham to stay around. I honestly would love if. Oh, my point was, sorry. Okay, obviously WWE's carrying the market where they're training people from the get. ROH can be that alternative. They were known for creating the stars of tomorrow. And then those stars of tomorrow were swooped up by Impact or WWE, and now it could be AEW. But I think if they're owning that and they're okay with that and they're embracing that, which I think there's a great market for just that, a true indie that's breeding the stars of tomorrow, I think that would be a great alternative, and that's a great niche for them. And I would love if Impact was part of that in some way, feeding system or not. So I dig all this, but I do want to touch on it real quick, and then I'll let you say what and we'll get into the whatever. Um, well, actually, say what you're gonna say now.
I still think ROH, the best thing they can do is if they put on monthly shows or whatever, and just have whoever holds their belts just come back and just do your random indies, like not have a full blown roster. Just be like, hey, that I think that would be the best option for them.
Well, I think the Supercard at Rebellion Time would be very interesting if they do a twofer there, and they put over some Impact got people, not put them over, but send them over. Just because you're doing a pay per view, you're gonna want kind of some veterans mixed in there. Some names.
Yeah, definitely. But I'm talking about them. I don't think they have
No.
a full roster. They always
yeah. But we're still getting Roxy defending the ROH Women's title on Impact next week. So I believe it's next week. So there's going to be crossover no matter if it's part of the invasion or not. But either way, it's really cool. It's fun buzz, and it's something to look forward to these tapings for. Obviously we don't read spoilers, so you're safe with us. If you want to just come to an Impact show and talk in the kayfabe, come with it. But it's a fun time, and I think because they're doing the tapings so close together compared to as long as they used to, there's a lot of cool shit that could come out of each of these tapings just because they just brought 5 new people in.
Yeah, I agree.
And we'll get to, unfortunately, the Rohit stuff and the Kimber stuff and Brandy next time, and maybe if we have time at the end, we'll touch on that. But it looks like Impact's bringing in an influx of talent invading either way. All right, so let's get into Hard to Kill. The moneymaker here, the one we all want to talk about. Now, we touched on a few things over there, so we'll skip around we have about 30 minutes, but bear with us if we go slightly over, because I want to talk about everything. I want to start talking about the first match. Let's go right to the pre-show. We already talked to the announcers. I thought the production was pretty good. They missed some shots, but the sound was quality. There was a little delay with the satellite in some parts, but I thought overall this was a successful production, venture. There we go. But first up, on the pre-show, we had Jake something moving from the 4-man X division. The 4-man X division number 1 contender match, and then moving to a singles match against Fulton, where he took the dub. Obviously, the Jake Hive was out and saying, "Oh, boo, you took Jake off of it, whatever." Even though we say Jake means something still, I thought it was cool to see them put him over. Madman's untouchable. He's with Ace. He's cool. We're not going to go into each detail of the match, but we'll group that in as well with the 4-man X division. So obviously the debuting Speedball Mike Bailey took a win over Ace Austin, Chris Bay, who I predicted, and to win, and Laredo Kid. Thoughts on the whole pre-show?
So I thought the pre-show was really good. I agree with you with Fulton that he doesn't need to win or anything. He's just kind of a monster, and him winning, losing just doesn't matter. Good win for Jake something. I do agree, though, he still needs something. The 4-way X division match I really liked. I thought it was a good way to show Speedball, someone that Craig has talked about for a long time. I really like. Now I don't know, is that shooting star press knee drop, is that his finisher, or was that just what he used there? Like I haven't watched him enough to know.
Well, that's the thing is, in the interest of fairness, I've been catching up since Craig started to whatever. So I've seen him versus Keith Lee. I've seen him about 5. I'd say 5 matches, and I've seen him finish at least 2 with it, if I'm not mistaken. So I've seen it before. but I'm
Oh.
not sure. I would be lying if I
So
told
I
you.
will say that one of the things, because as I was reading some other reviews, someone said it was a 450 double knee stomp. I don't believe it was. It was a shooting star press. But
If it was.
because if it was a 450, then it automatically jumps to my favorite card of the match. Much like Meltzer with anything AEW gets an extra star, anything with a 450 variation in it
Match of the
jumps to
card.
the top of my card. Yeah, so still that was a great match. So I thought that was really good, and also I love Ace Austin and my brain went away.
Chris Bay.
Chris Bay as well.
Yeah,
So
I thought Laredo had a good showing. He's finally, I
yeah,
feel, on the same playing level. I think Ace was a foregone conclusion. He's not going to win. They seem to be doing the tag division, something with that, which is awesome because we need something in that tag division. We'll talk about that obviously more.
we got the Kingdom now.
Well, we'll talk about that more with Hardcore War. But I thought it was a good paper. A good pre-show. A lot of people saying, "Oh, this is going to be wasted on a pre-show." It wasn't wasted. If they knew there were a lot of eyes coming from WWE, if not from other places, that were going to give us a chance. That we're going to give the pre-show a chance and just see what it was, hit in the shadows, and say, oh, "Okay, yeah, maybe I will order this and talk shit about it, or order it and love it." And I think you put on your best, you put on your foundation, your core group here. That you want to push, and then also a debuting somebody who will be a star all in together. So I thought it was a good selling pitch.
I agree. If you are putting on a pre-show with the intent of selling your pay-per-view, then I agree that one of those matches needs to be a match that gets people to say, "Holy shit, that was exciting!
Yeah.
Let me spend the $40 to see what this is about." Like WWE, everything you watch, I haven't bought a WWE pay-per-view ever, but everything now comes through the network or Peacock.
Right.
So their pre-show can be garbage because I don't think anybody is watching the pre-show trying to say, should I watch this or not? But with Impact, because it is a free pre-show and you're trying to get people to buy, it makes sense to put a stacked match on there so that it gets people excited and just say, I'm going to spend that $40 on it. So I think that was a
Right.
smart move. I agree with you.
Yeah. I appreciate that. Yeah. I think Impact is really hitting on all cylinders, and they're hitting these little somethings, and I want to touch in there because I see a couple things in there. They're hitting these little things. I knew that Ace wasn't going to win, but I knew something was up that they were going with the Ace Bailey feud because when he came out, he started talking. He's like, "Who's this guy? Talking about Bailey or whatever? Who does this guy think he is?" So they're definitely setting up for Bailey versus Ace, which I think. I mean, Jesus Christ, Mary and Joseph. It's gonna be that's gonna be a feud. But I do want to mention because it's coming up there as well. They're really good about these little sneak things as well, and I see a couple people mentioning. We mentioned on Twitter the Rebellion, which was announced shortly after the pre-show. It will be in Poughkeepsie in April. Maybe we'll go, hopefully. But where there was an Omega symbol last year, there is a question mark this year. What is that? It's those little cool things that have people wondering that I thought made this show even more of a success, where there were people that caught on to that rather quickly compared to, before where I come on this thinking I had the goods and I go, oh, look, did anyone else know? Everyone notices. And it's these little things little big things that Impact are doing cool to set the tone or to pique your interest. And the pre-show was one of them. So Ultimate X, let's get into that. That was, a way to start a fucking show. It was the first ever history-making Ultimate X for the Knockouts. And I thought they delivered. I thought it was fun. You could tell, obviously, this was the first time for Knockouts. They're working things out. They're working sets out and spots. But I thought for doing it with no other... Now, look, obviously, men and women are built differently. But it is what it is, okay? But that plays a factor in this. To see... Well, not me, with obviously Jordan's strong enough to go do it. Obviously, Chelsea slipped and fucking landed on Tasha. So that's a dynamic. But when I saw how tall this fucking thing was, and these girls climbing the... This was, I don't want to say my favorite Ultimate X in quite a while, but it was my favorite Ultimate X in quite
They did better getting up it than where Heat did.
a while. Fair enough.
So I will say that I was a little nervous at first. I feel like certain types of matches fit certain types of people. Hell in a Cell match, one of the people in that match has to be willing to go off the top of the cage, or else you're missing something.
Right.
Ultimate X to me has always been an X Division match because you get these not all of them, but a lot of the guys in it are usually the high flyers
Right.
who do some crazy shit off that structure. I would not want to see an Ultimate X match with Matt Cardona, W. Morrissey, Moose, because those guys just aren't going to be able to do like. I don't expect them to be able to do that high flying stuff.
Yeah.
So I was a little bit concerned because that's the picture in my mind is Ultimate X. But I think all these women really did deliver. They went out there. I will say the right person won. I was excited about that. And you could tell that this was something that they were, I guess, they were excited to be a part of history.
Yeah.
And because of that, they did a really good job at, making sure that the match came off. And I agree, it is different. It's gonna be different because you have it's a different type of a match that probably none of them have I don't even know.
No.
I'm sure at some point they went and tried that structure out.
Right.
But it's not something that they've had any experience with. So everybody's a fresh face there. But I thought overall, I think it was a really good match and the right person won. And I was happy with the final 6 that ended up being in it.
Same. I thought, it was cool that Lish got that opportunity. It sucks that Rachel didn't. But, and the reports are coming out that Jordan and Tasha are the ones that pushed for this match in real life to Scott. And then when they announced it live or whatever it was at the tapings, that was the first they heard it. So,
Yeah, I heard that.
So really cool little thing there to show that this roster gives a shit. This roster is invested. They know the history. One thing I thought was really cool, so shout out to Tom about that too. He knows the history of TNA and Impact. I mean, if he doesn't, he's good as hell as faking it. I don't know if he was going to be, hired for a while, and he's been just watching the show and analyzing it, and they just kind of, had him prep up before he came. But he knew. And, I thought that was really cool about this too. It shows that this locker room, is embracing the history now. It's cool to say I don't know if it's cool to say you like TNA anymore. But I think there's more of a tie to the past than there's ever been. With that being said, I love the match. Like I said, 6, I believe, I agree with you. I like the dynamic, and that's where I'm going to go. One, it showed the diversity, and I don't mean that as a dig. I mean that as a athletic ability way. In this match, it showed the diversity of the Knockouts division. You have a Jordan who can literally climb that thing like it's nothing. You have Lish, whose thing is she's the underdog and so light and climbing and scurrying across it. You have Lady Frost, who is fucking insane, doing moonsaults and other crazy shit and there, and her I think coming out party for Impact. I thought that was really dope. That was hey, welcome to Impact. Boom, you're now in the spotlight. Jordan, who else am I missing here? Tasha came down like she was from the fucking menagerie or something. It was just like you got to see a little bit of what this division, why it's as good as people say it is. And then on top of that, yeah, like I was getting at, is yes, this structure is tall as hell. Yes, this structure's technically is made for the men's division, for the X division. It's been that since day one. This is the first. And I thought they tore it up for that. And that's not to say Michael Shane and Sabin and Kazarian didn't in the first one, but just with the odds stacked against them, I want to make it very clear. One, it's a legacy to go up against. One, you're the first. Two, you'll probably be the damn Twitch commercial every fucking year after this. So you want to produce.
Yeah.
And they produced. And that's just this locker room is special.
I agree. All right, let's move in. We're 15 minutes left.
Oh, yeah, it's all right. Let's get to Trey and Macklin, because next would be ROH, and we already touched on that a bit. So Trey and Macklin, I picked Trey to win. I thought this was a genius way to get Macklin off Trey's case. You lose, you can't, challenge again while Trey's champion. I saw a lot of faces coming in. You see Bailey coming in. You see the people that are maneuvering back to the X Division, like Bay, Laredo Kid trying to step up, maybe a Murphy coming in. So you have all these new people and challengers stepping up. It didn't make sense for Macklin to be the one they go against. So this is cool because I thought it put Macklin over as tough. I thought it made his streak important. This is what you do with someone you bring in that is not known to everyone, that you give a streak to, unlike Crimson. All right, had to get that in there. Max, what'd you think of the match? And Christine. Our shout out to Christine, our homie Christine, who almost got murdered by Trey.
I thought it was a great match. I think they both came out, like you said, they both came out of the match looking really good. I think it sets Macklin up to whatever he's going to do next.
Yeah.
I think he moves well to that. I agree with you. The whole, hey, you can't challenge anymore. Awesome. It kind of ends this feud for now, and then you can pick it back up later on down the line. So I think it was a great way to kind of get him away from the X Division.
Well, real quick, I just want to, just because it popped in my head, I just want to mention this real quick. That your narration there kind of pops some. It would be really cool if the moment Trey loses it, Macklin comes out and just beats the shit out of whoever does eventually. I think that'd be really cool.
That would be, yeah. I mean, hey, it'd be a good way to do that. But I would say this is my second favorite match of the night. Just because I really liked what both these guys did. It was very close between this and the ROH match as my second.
Okay.
But this one. But I really like Trey. I think both of them came out looking like stars, and I think Trey is him staying with Impact. You've really seen him develop from where he was when the other two rascals left to where he is now. It's almost like he's a completely different person.
Oh, for sure. He found himself. He's still finding himself. He still has to portray the underdog that gets, against all odds. And that's okay for him. To be a fighting champion or a white meat babyface in this era, you got to be like Trey is. And I did.
Yeah.
So I like that. And yes, I agree with Io there saying Macklin versus Alexander because it gives Josh another roadblock. We'll roll right into that. Let's talk about Jonah and Josh. I thought Jonah would take this. I thought Jonah would knock him out, bleed him, he couldn't get up, and decimate him because we know he's here to rebellion. I thought Josh didn't need this win. I still think Alexander's protected, and it adds to his story. But that means Jonah's going to want revenge. Macklin might be someone that steps in, but we need to keep blocking Josh from the title because we need Moose to keep it.
So in terms of matches, this is my favorite match of the card.
Really?
I thought it was an amazing match. I do agree, though, that I wish Jonah would have won because I agree. I feel like with Alexander winning, the next logical step, without knowing how things break, is him going after Moose, and we need to stop that.
Yeah.
I don't care if Hulk Hogan has to come down and wrestle him. I don't care what it is. Somebody, there needs to be things in his way to stop him from wrestling Moose because there needs to be more time before they go at it.
If we can extend this, same with the Inspiration. Let me mention that. Obviously, that match didn't happen, unfortunately. We will get it in Fort Lauderdale. COVID precautions, good, wonderful. Disappointed because I thought they would add a lot to the new viewer. I think that would help, but knowing they're there just gives you a little whatever. But with that being said, you need to stall, like you're saying, right? I wouldn't mind if Josh stalls all the way until whatever it may be. His roadblocks are easy. That's why what I was getting at was with the Inspiration not being there, I was okay with it because at the end of the day, I know they're going to try to beat ODB and Eric Young's record. That's what they're there for. They signed for 2 years. They're won on day one. They're going to beat that and wipe that off the skid mark that it is. And I love both those wrestlers. Everyone knows that, but come on. So that's the case. Them missing this pay-per-view, really, it just extended their...
It extends. No, I agree with that.
But that's my analogy. I'm just trying to say that the same with Josh and Jonah, they need a roadblock.
No, I agree, and I'm interested to see how they go because I agree with you. I don't think this is over. I think hopefully Jonah gets a win, maybe in a taping. Um, but we'll see. But I thought it was a really good match. I mean, Josh Alexander is a star. Like the dude, if he's one of those guys, that if he went to AEW, people would be talking about him as one of the best wrestlers in the world today.
Oh, for sure. For
So,
sure.
but
I think he's one of those people like Moose that they leave alone now because I think they transcend ignorance. You can't really, you can't hate on it. But let's get into Hardcore War so then we can get to Moose and company. Hardcore War was something that I said, I'll never say a bathroom break, but I said, and we said as well, that there wasn't as much invested
yeah,
into the storyline. It's just, hey, what's up, Akeem? Welcome back, buddy. Um, we're just it is what it is. It's a hardcore match. It's a blood feud, sure, but it's just trying to help and elevate a weak of we perceive as a weak tag team division. I think the match is what it is. It was fun, nothing crazy, but the ending, obviously, we already mentioned, and I think that's what we could talk about a little bit right here. Is obviously the Kingdom coming in. They didn't go for the heels, who are the champions, the Good Brothers, but they did take out the winning team. And Heath and Rhino, as well as Eddie wasn't really part of that, I don't believe.
uh,
Was
I don't think so. I know they took out.
it? It would be nice if Eddie was a part of them. If there's an ROH invasion and Eddie switches sides, I'd be okay. But I don't think Eddie got taken out. But I'm trying to think of the other tag team here. Oh, William Rich.
Which I know they got destroyed.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think Eddie got taken out.
The effect of that. So they're coming in here, the Kingdom. That's an instant, and that's what we've been saying for months. Is we need an instant team. It's not the Briscoes. It's not whoever else insert here that we said that we could really use, Gorillas of Destiny, but they are an established team that has some rub and some buzz. So do they fill that gap, or are we still,
I mean, I definitely think they help fill the gap.
Mm.
I would like another tag team or two, just because. I mean, it's hard to have a stacked tag team division because you need double the people for it
right?
that you do for a normal
We ain't
division.
got that WWE money.
Yeah, like if you have 6 guys in a normal division, that's a good amount that you can rotate through. 6 guys in a tag team division is 3 tag teams. Like you need 12. So just to have like a decent. So I think we need another tag team or two, possibly. But I think the Kingdom is new and fresh enough that it allows you to get a feud going.
Yeah.
And kind of push back that timetable on when you need another tag team. Because this isn't a rehash of any match we've seen before. A Kingdom versus the Good Brothers feud is fresh, it's new, and if it's done right, can go for 3 months.
Right.
And then you don't necessarily need to add in those tag teams right away.
Well, obviously, it looks like Hikuleo went back, so it looks like Bay is going to singles. I don't know about Finjuice. Maybe they went back. I'm not really caught up on all that. So, I mean, we lost a little bit of depth the little that we had. So the Kingdom, the Good Brothers, even doesn't look like the Kingdom's going after the Good Brothers.
Well, he did. Taven did hold up the title.
He did, but they weren't anywhere to be found. So we'll see what is their path there. They could be dabbling in it, but still, we would have the Good Brothers, them, Rich and Willie, which are getting some steam together. They look right together. I love both of them. They help each other out symbiotically, so I like that. But
and he needs some help. Maybe he just brings in an old friend. Who knows?
It's gonna have to be someone else because maybe it's Sammy because Davey re-signed with MLW, so we'll see what's going on with that. But so it helped the tag division. I'm excited about to see where it goes. I still don't think it's an ROH invasion, and I'm happy about that because I think those people can add depth to what we're doing. Moving on, let's get to. We got about 5 minutes, but we go a little bit over.
there's 1,000 people in Bullet Club. So if Bay needs a tag team partner, just pick up the phone and find out who's in the area.
Yeah. So Moose, Morrissey, Cardona, right person won for me.
I
A
agree.
lot of fuck yous in this pay-per-view, which I thought it was interesting. Two in this match. Um, you know, I thought for a main event that everyone was just, it's there. Okay, Moose is going to retain. I thought it put a question mark in your head. And I thought they did a great job, those three men, of putting on a match, including Chelsea as well. Putting on a main event, because it was a co-main event, that did the title justice. I really believed at any point any one of those people could win, and that sucked because I wanted Moose badly.
No, it was a really good match. I definitely think it builds up all three of these guys. Well, obviously Moose was already
Yeah,
a superstar, like a legit champion.
right.
I think it built up Cardona and Morrissey as people that if down the line they held the title, I wouldn't be against it.
Yeah,
Like I'm like it's not one of those things where you're like, "Oh yeah, this guy's wrestling for the title, but I know he's not going to win it and I don't want him as champion."
yeah.
I think either one of those guys could be champions on the line and would be great champions. So I thought it was a good match. Um, I mean, it is. It was a solid match. It was a good main event. I do think it was benefited by the fact that the Hardcore War went on before it,
Right.
so
Oh,
it wasn't.
they they
The crowd didn't seem super gassed.
they planned out the pace of this night
Yeah,
beautifully. If it was a symphony, they booked it correctly. If it was a symphony book, I don't know what I'm talking about. But no, I do want to mention, I see that people mentioning about overbooked. Yeah, I think it was a little bit, but I think that was a more of a storyline of where we're going, and they needed to do that because the tapings were the next day. Moose, what does Moose do from here? But Cardona, I think, and Chelsea are going to be that heel power couple. They have to be. Um, and I think this sets them on that path of going a little bit heelish. They both lost. They both Moose, got into it with Moose. So we'll see. Maybe it's just Cardona straight up. But I think that sets up what's going on in the future. And for me, the real world title match, the main event was the Texas Death Match, which
we also saw a prosthetic leg come into the
we
ring, which
did.
is
Yo, look,
so.
Morrissey, I said on the pre show, he to me is the evolution of Matt Morgan for us. I think he's an ex WWE whatever guy, who, if nourished correctly, doesn't need lifts in his boots, doesn't need any promo classes, knows he's a big guy, and whatever to Matt Morgan, but this is the big guy that could be the first one that's like, I don't think we've had one that's been an established big guy in the classic sense, that's been the champion. Abyss, but he's smaller he's like about Moose size technically.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah,
He's 6'6". Yeah, something to look into. I want to look into that, but I think he is coming into his own, and you just heard the name Matt Morgan, unfortunately. Yeah, I dropped it. But yeah, so I like where it's going.
before, I mean, we also said the name Crimson earlier on, so we're just bringing up all the best
Hey,
wrestling from the old.
you want me to go back? I'll go back farther, man. I'll date myself. But let's get on to that Texas death match we were just speaking of. I love those stipulation. I want to mention that although we're mentioning Hardcore War, Texas death match, overbooking of and the hardcoreness that went with the Moose match, it was called Hard to Kill. At the same time, I never felt there was redundant moments. I never felt like, oh, that spot again, or oh, attacks again. I thought they planned it out beautifully. So when this happened, I was pleasantly surprised with what they busted out. And were there a few botches and stuff, or stuff that didn't go perfectly? Sure. Uh, but for a main event that had this much potential, this much kind of buzz, especially with the Royal Rumble thing, Mickie won, and she's going to the Royal Rumble as a Knockouts champion.
So I like the main event. I felt like the whole Texas deathmatch rules were a little weird.
Really?
I just wish it was just a normal hardcore match.
Like everything else on the show.
Yeah. I don't know why. That's just me.
I love Texas Deathmatch.
But yeah, I don't know. But I thought it was a good match. I know someone in there had mentioned, are we going to get the point where Deonna grabbed Mickie?
Yeah, Mickie busted out the old WrestleMania moment. You know, it was great. I thought what this did a lot, if you're watching this for the first time with Impact, is you see an alternative. AEW is an alternative in its own right to WWE, and we're an alternative to them, and vice versa. But there was a lot of swearing. There's a lot of not PG moments, non-PG moments. There was a lot of, I don't want to say attitude error, because you look back and we always say attitude error wasn't necessarily the most entertaining when you look back at it, or most.
It was entertaining. It wasn't all necessarily good.
Okay, there you go. I don't want to say it like that. But I think this is something you can look at and say, "Oh man, this is kind of cool," and it felt like 2008, 2009 Impacts.
Yeah, it was a good match. I thought it was a good conclusion to their feud.
Right.
Like, it's a blood feud.
Yep.
These two have, like, if this was Mickie James versus Tenille, I'd have been like, this is a weird match for them.
Right.
But for Deonna and Mickie, it felt like the right type of match, like a hardcore match for that. I definitely think Mickie winning was the best, because it would have been super dumb had they talked about her on SmackDown being the Impact World Champ or Knockouts Champion,
Yeah.
and then her ass loses the belt. That would have been stupid. But no, I thought it was a good match. I thought it was a good way to end. I think so if you look at it, they had Ultimate X, first ever women's Ultimate X. Then they decided to main event this pay-per-view with a women's match.
Yeah.
Like, that shows how serious Impact takes their women's division.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's something that they have faith in.
They bookended the pay-per-view.
Yeah, they believe in this division. So I thought that was great. I think that, and we'll mention it now, because I don't really. Oh, I guess we'll talk about pay-per-view Fallout. We'll go there afterwards.
We're pretty much wrapping. What do you got to say?
Okay. I thought it was a good match. I think that, obviously, Mickie being in the Royal Rumble, to me, is huge, because people are talking about, oh, the WWE does it because they don't have enough women. Here's the thing. They always get returning people to show up.
Right.
But they didn't need Mickie James. They're not going to AEW and looking for people to come back,
right,
to be part of their Royal Rumble. So the fact that they're doing this, to me, is one, huge for Impact, because it's going to get the Impact bout on there. That she's
maybe
not. Well, I think they're at least going to mention the fact
that
she's Impact Knockouts champion, and I don't think she's going to go there and be eliminated in 5 seconds.
No,
because I don't think Mickie would allow that, and I don't think Scott would allow that.
I think that's a general, paranoid thought.
Yeah.
Because look, real quick, they let's not forget the history there. She's obviously left TNA, went to WWE, became a star. They call her Piggy James. She leaves, continues her stardom in TNA. She goes back, and then they give her a trash bag. They're not going to bring this woman back for 5 seconds and deal with the flack they're getting. The only reason you reach out to this woman is to fix that problem. Anyways, continue. Sorry.
So I do think, though, what this does open up is somebody from WWE coming over to Impact. We lent you one of ours. You're going to lend you, we want one of yours in return. And there's only one person in all of WWE that makes sense for Impact to want.
That's a fair exchange.
And that's Consequences Creed. It makes no sense that they would be doing this if they're not getting Consequences Creed back, right?
Oh, yeah. Not the other guy. I thought you were going to play off the fact that Scott Demorson interviewed that if Mickie had stayed originally, never went to WWE, stayed as Alexis 3, she would be the AJ Styles of the Knockouts division.
Well, I mean, I would love now if AJ Styles shows back up in Impact, I will be on here crying tears of joy. Outside of the Johnsons, there's nobody else I want back in Impact more.
Either way, you're gonna get that one day, so I'm not gonna egg you on that. But I will say this:
the Johnsons,
no,
or AJ.
AJ, who knows with the Johnsons? I think we get Jeff Jarrett soon, though. I thought he would be there last night, but I think he comes. Yeah, it's gonna be a really awesome 2022, and beyond. A lot of great things coming this year. But I don't think it's going to be AJ or Consequences, Creed. I really look, no matter what you say about WWE, no matter what you think about the declining ratings, I already said that about our ratings. They don't really matter. I could say that multiple times. I don't know how else to say it. The system is broken. We have sponsors somehow, so we're growing either way. But point being, WWE has an audience and a reach that we can dream of. So, and the tweets and the buzz and all that stuff and the likes and the shares that happened because of the announcement were the biggest that we've had, I would say, ever. In a very long time. I'll have to check the stats on that. But that buzz that they gave us just by giving us the rub and mentioning it, I think that's the exchange enough. You're not gonna. They're not gonna say, "Hey, can we have Mickie for one night? We'll mention all this Impact stuff. We'll let her be the Impact champion on there, and also we'll give you Consequences Creed." It's not AJ. It's not gonna happen.
We got Christian when they wanted Ric Flair.
Dude, one was getting inducted into the Hall of Fame, and is Ric fucking Flair, and Christian is wonderful. I love Christian, always will, and a Hall of Famer in his own right. But come on, man, come on, that's not the same. He was the ECW champion, I believe, or Intercontinental champion or something when he.
We'll see. I think it wouldn't surprise me if someone's coming over. Maybe not maybe not AJ. Maybe it's
Rude's an interesting prospect. I thought the interesting thing with the entrance with Trey was a wink there. Now, not saying that the Rascals are coming back, but he pretended as if the Rascals coming back. Tom acted as if that was the multiverse.
Maybe LA Knight.
Please no.
He gets his decent name back.
Unless we're doing a Skinamax production for Ace Austin again. I don't know anything but LA Knight.
Who else can we get here?
Rude, I think, is a great example of
Lashley.
No, they want to give us Lashley. I don't think AJ. I think AJ's too up there as well. What I would think is, one, I don't think they're going to give us anybody. I think they are giving us what they're giving us. It is already the rub. But
all right, I'll tell you who it's really going to be.
Who's it?
It's going to be R-Truth, and he's going to show up in Impact and pretend that he's actually in the WWE.
Yeah.
He'll win the 24/7 championship in WWE and defend it in Impact because he thinks it's Monday Night Raw.
Bro, look, I would just be happy with them cutting away after an intense locker room, yelling, whoever it is, don't give a fuck. And then the locker room clears, and they just pan, and R-Truth's there.
Just standing in the locker room.
Just stand in the locker room. Oh, hi, guys. It's been a while.
That's what's
going to... He just acts like it never changed.
Show up.
Yeah, next day he's got, he's waiting for Shark Boy and shit.
Yeah, he, comes out and does his rap.
That shit would be good. Oh, man. Yeah, and Samoa Joe, I would say he's coming, man. We were excited at Slammiversary. It wasn't the right time. He went back. He's a two-time NXT champion, and I think he's going to come.
He's a two-time WWE Fiery.
Yeah. Oh, man, what a mess. But, yeah, guys, Mia Yim, I think, is one that returns as well. But I don't think they give us anyone. I think the Rascals are an interesting one ploy if they say, maybe they want to come home. I don't know. Slash at the same time, because they got a bad situation over there from the get-go for something stupid. So maybe they want to come home, but also
they were champions for a long time.
Yeah, but they were booed from day one because of idiots.
That's true.
So they didn't get the love, and I think they see the writing on the wall as far as getting called up, and anything to do with Triple H is no longer there, unfortunately. So yeah, I think that's up in the air, but who knows what they'll do. I thought it was more likely that someone would come out and cost Mickie the Matt title. That was a insert person here who will be in the Royal Rumble as well. But
That's not a bad
we'll
idea.
see. We'll see. We got a tapings to do to go, and as we said before, we are spoiler free. So join us from here on out, and we'll give you our unbiased true opinions here. Transparency. Max, do you want to add anything before we wrap this up?
No, I mean I think it was a great pay-per-view. Impact, their last I don't know how many pay-per-views now have always been really good. Every once in a while they'll have a match it doesn't hit right, but I thought top to bottom, I thought this was an amazing pay-per-view, and I think going forward, as you said, because they're taping things like in short order as opposed to
Right.
2 months out, I'm interested to see what happens.
I agree with you because with that shorter turnaround, and I hope it gets even shorter as we go, just to see that buzzer or the ticker at the bottom showing all the shows and where they're going to be was just a breath of fresh air for me as an Impact fan, day oneer. But I'm interested to see what happens there, and I think as you're alluding to, that ROH thing carries them into next or the Invasion or the Kingdom, whatever you want to call it. Carries them to the next tapings, and then what's the next thing that happens there? And so I think it's a chain domino effect that they're really knocking out of the park, learning to create buzz, and on top of that, for the first time in a very, very long time, it feels like not only are they getting outside buzz, not only are they getting sponsorship and other fresh eyes on the product. Now on top of it, oh shit, I just read that. Also, HTK sold out. Let's never forget that. Yes, we're selling out. So, but what I was gonna say was for the first time in forever, we're capitalizing on it. That was a top to bottom, pre-card even show that I thought was, although we have consistently great pay-per-views, this was a great pay-per-view. And I think if you were to say that you watch from beginning to end and say otherwise,
You're a hater.
Yeah.
Or you just don't enjoy wrestling. Also, DJ Z's in NXT, so maybe he shows back up.
Uh-oh, I just came across a spoiler debut, which I won't name, but it's someone you most definitely forgot about. Oh Lord, it's who was PCO's partner? Is it the Mounties?
It's that dude who got his nuts stomped by
yeah, Sanjay Dutt.
by Sanjay, not Sanjay, the dude who actually.
I know.
I don't remember who that was.
Rashad Cameron.
There you go. That's impressive.
All right, guys. No TNA history. Interesting. All right, guys. Well, there we go. That was the show. So much more to fit in. Much we're going to be talking about, later on next episode. Check in with the guys on TBN if you can't wait to next Sunday for us, or Saturday, depending when you're watching. Even if so, tune into them. They are our UK across the pond brothers of another mother. Is that what the term is? I don't fucking know. I'm tired. But go check them out every Thursday, 4 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. BST, talking bloody nonsense. They're awesome, and they're going to have a special guest on rather soon. I don't want to ruin it, but he has some ties to the WWE, so that'll be fun. And go check out Mr. Impact Craigs. He has a first TBN chats with Lizzie Evo, who is an amazing British women's wrestler. So go check that out. We'll see you next time, guys. Thank you for tuning in for the first time or the 50th time or whatever in between. Like, subscribe, follow with us. Let us be your guides to Impact World. Thank you for coming. God bless. Good night.
Later, guys.